My name is Lola. I'm a feminist activist from Russia, and I'm a co-founder of Feminist Anti-War Resistance. Our movement is one of the largest grassroots activist movements in Russia, and we are against Russian war in Ukraine, and we are against Putin's regime in general. We are a large network of autonomous groups located all around the country and outside the country in exile as well. For example, we are having more than 15 groups in different countries in exile, and I'm also in exile myself, and right now coordinating not only the movement in general, but our local group in Austria, in Vienna. And in Russia, our colleagues and fellow activists are doing enormous work in different regions while trying to stay safe and secure, because the level of repression and the brutality of repression are enormous. We are very focused not only to do anti-war activism specifically on the issue of war in Ukraine, and not only fight Russian repression, helping political prisoners, and trying to resist anti-human rights legislations that keep evolving in our country. We also trying to build alliances with civil societies around the world. We are very interested in meeting and getting to know women's groups, feminist groups, peace, anti-war groups, and initiatives around the world, because we believe that Putin's regime is not only a threat to Ukrainian people, and not only a threat to us as Russian citizens who are facing oppression and authoritarianism, but this is a general threat to peace in the world and to international security, and most importantly to human rights in general in the world. We are looking very closely how laws that are violating human rights that were implemented and first developed in Russia are slowly being exported outside Russia to other countries through these far-right politicians who are friends of Putin and who are political allies of Putin, and who are looking up to this repression and legislations happening in our country, and then implementing the same laws to violate human rights of their own citizens. We saw examples like this just in the last few years in Georgia and Bulgaria, with these laws against LGBT propaganda, so-called one, and against foreign agent, the law that is being used to silence and oppress any human rights organization or any activist groups that is existing. We also have been seeing how Putin's regime has been helping far-right politicians win elections around the world through using propaganda, Russian propaganda machine, through using fake news, social media bots, also through financing these far-right parties. We has been following the fact how Russian oligarchs has been financing and supporting in all sorts of ways anti-gender, anti-LGBT, anti-women's rights groups, anti-reproductive groups all over the world. So this is a huge amount of resource that is coming from Russia to support this conservative turn that is happening around the world, to support violations of our human rights that are happening around the world, and to reinforce this rising fascism that we are witnessing right now in the world. We are very concerned about the friendship, this new kind of developing friendship between Putin and Trump, very public one. We believe that right now we as civil society activists, as grassroots groups, as peace and human rights organizations, we need to unite internationally to develop this so-called coalition of far-right that is growing around the world, because they are the main threat to us, and they are succeeding in uniting against us. Putin is one of the major players in this far-right political turn. He's one of the drivers of these human rights violations and conservative values. And we are on the front line of resisting Putin's regime. And we need your help and support and solidarity to resist this together, because on our own, with this level of repression and with this level of fossil fuel money that keeps fueling Putin's pocket and the regime, we won't be able to resist it on our own. And Ukraine won't be able to resist Russian military aggression on their own. So solidarity should be reinforced, and we are looking forward to build these alliances with you.
Ja sam Ljiljana Nešić. Ja nisam političarka, nisam ni vojna strateškinja, ali sam majka, žena i aktivistkinja koja je naučila da se i najdublja borba vodi tiho, svakim danom, svakom mišlju, svakim korakom koji ne ide unazad. I to je moja moć. Moć da podsjetim svete da mir nije luksuz, već pravo. Moja borba za mir je počela onog dana kada sam shvatila da svojoj deci ne mogu obećati budućnost. Onog trenutka kada sam ih pogledala u oči i shvatila, ja više nemam prava da ćutim. Počelo je u tišini između dve suze, dok sam gledala vesti i pitala se, kako smo došli do ovde? Ne ovde, ne danas, ne dok se nepravda širi kao dim po kućama u koje su žene prestale da sanjaju, a deca prerano odrastaju. Počela sam kad sam odbila da mržnja govori u moje ime. Birala sam da govorim i kada su mi rekli da ćutim, da hodam i kad su mi to zabranjivali. Shvatila sam da ne moram su granice, te da neko drugi donese tame ovde gde smo rođene.
Good afternoon, dear colleagues. It is an honor to join you at this colloquium on the soft power of mothers for peace. My name is Natalia Siniaeva-Pankowska, and I'm a co-founder of a Minorities for Peace initiative, empowering minority and indigenous communities with positive peace and mediation in Eastern Europe and beyond. My own family background has roots in a minority community, the Udmurt Besmian, a small people from the Ural region of the Russian Federation, today also dispersed across countries such as Estonia, Hungary, Finland, and others. I have long been concerned about the devastating impact of war on minorities in both Ukraine and Russia. Many have become displaced, lost their homes, and face discrimination in their new countries. Born in Moldova and now living in Poland, two frontline countries, I felt the urgent need to act. In Udmurt culture, peace is deeply rooted in our mythology, and violence is traditionally rejected, especially by women. That tradition inspires me to this day. Over the past 20 months, our initiative has brought together displaced minorities and indigenous leaders from Eastern Europe, particularly from Ukraine and Russia, in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. What we have learned is that the refugees are not a single story. They include Roma, Jews, Muslims, Crimean Tatars, migrants from Africa and Asia, and indigenous peoples from Siberia to the Caucasus. Many who fled Russia are themselves from minority and indigenous backgrounds, voices often silenced, but now speaking for peace. With the support of Rotary International, the Institute for Economics and Peace, the Never Again Association, Exalt Solutions, and others, we trained more than 100 community leaders from 27 minority and indigenous groups, reaching thousands more through their networks. Together, we developed a peace-building framework available in multiple languages, including endangered ones, such as Buryat and Roma Layash, because peace must be multilingual, multicultural, and inclusive. So what does this have to do with mothers and soft power? Mothers, whether biological or symbolic, embody their power to protect, to heal, and to transform values. They remind us that peace is not only about absence of war, but the presence of dignity, respect, and justice. In our work, I have seen Roma, Buryat, Udmurt, Jewish, Yazidi, and Crimean Tatars, and other women who, despite loss and displacements, are guiding their communities to resist hatred and to choose dialogue instead. Minority communities and indigenous communities are not only victims of conflict, they are peacemakers, teachers, and bridge builders. And by recognizing the agency, we expand the soft power to peace itself. Let's listen to the mothers, honor the minorities, honor indigenous people, and work together for a just peace. Thank you.
My name is Diana Grosso, and I'm the president of NGO Lex 21 Association for Human Rights. I founded this organization in 2003 together with others from the Faculty of Law, Belz University. We were motivated to contribute to the defense of human rights in Moldova, including the state of rule of law in our country. The organization I lead has implemented numerous projects to improve the life of people in the country. This project focuses on ensuring gender equality, supporting vulnerable groups, and combating gender-based violence. For example, we applied different ways to educate the public about these issues. We published books and created animated films and documentaries on the topics. We initiated information campaigns and public initiatives, including appearing on various media programs. In order to implement our projects, we faced challenges, in some cases including the bureaucracy of local public authorities. Diplomacy was a key of soft power, requiring the ability to argue in a reasoned way, even if the position of authorities was wrong. Most of the time, the problem turned out to be trivial matter. For example, people like to be recognized and appreciated. The representatives of authorities are not different, and we demonstrated our gratitude towards them, even those projects that were carried out by civic organizations. In such situation, we accepted that all the laurels should be granted to the representatives of authorities. A challenge in the fight of gender equality and against stereotypes is to understand that result comes slowly in a society where the role of women is not accepted as leaders and agents of change. Through patience and perseverance, other critical soft skills, the intended goal can be achieved. Fighting corruption is a long-term process requiring long-term commitment, not just from women but from everyone in society. Our NGO contributed to the creation of Medical Workers Union in Belz Clinical Hospital. Our legal counsel straightened the formulation of the union, empowering and safeguarding doctors during and after the difficult COVID period. During the period when the war began in the neighboring country, Ukraine, all personnel and organizational efforts were directed towards supporting Ukrainian refugees who took shelter in our country. They were provided with lunch and food products, essential medicines, clothes and hygiene products were distributed, with support of World Center Kitchen, Caritas Luxembourg, Danish Refugee Council and Foundation from United Kingdom. Social integration, social interaction and connection are vital for a community, especially during times of conflict. Such is the nature of soft power. Together with my colleagues, I founded a cafe in a rural village north of Moldova that provides hot lunches for vulnerable people. It is a gathering place for mutual support. I have always promoted peace and tolerance among peers, cooperation for common good. Women have an important role in establishing peace in our country. By joining our commitment efforts, we can change things for a better life. Peace is the result of efforts to create a society in which every individual feels safe and valued.
Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Matilde Pelleggia and it is a honor to be here with you today for the third day of Mothers Without Borders. Today's focus is technology, and as we may know, it's never neutral. It can divide us, but it can also be a lifeline, a bridge toward justice, connection, and hope. Unfortunately, we see this vividly in times of war, where war victims, even under unimaginable realities and hardships, are turning to platforms, to social media, and to technological tools, not just to share their daily realities of rubble, of scarcity, and of struggle for the minimum slice of bread, but also to appeal to the world for empathy and solidarity. In the middle of war, their phones become both witnesses and tools of resilience. This is just one example of how digital spaces can carry both pain and possibilities. And it made us think and challenge us. How do we, as a global community, ensure that technology is employed not just for harm or profit alone, but as an instrument of truth, dignity, and ultimately peace? So as we begin today, let us hold in our hearts the stories of those who use technology to be seen, to be heard, and to survive. And let us be inspired to imagine ways that technology can serve humanity's deepest need, to live together in peace. Thank you.
Greetings to everyone here who have gathered today to celebrate Hawa's dream of bringing together international delegates to celebrate Mothers Without Borders, bringing their soft power to shine a light on peace in this world. My name is Linda Shamarman, and I founded the Youth Media and Wellbeing Lab back in 2018 because I felt a gap was missing in how scholars, clinicians, teachers, and parents were able to learn from each other and how to enhance well-being for our youth who grow up in a digital ecosystem that is always evolving. So much of research is hard to access, and the media headlines often skew the public to encourage panic and a sense of helplessness. Our lab focuses on promoting a sense of social technology agency, conducting scientific research that promotes knowledge and effective strategies to improve digital well-being for adolescents and their parent caregivers. One of the most important objectives of our labs is to translate research into the hands of the public to make proactive social change. For instance, our research emphasizes that parents and caregivers have ongoing active dialogue with their children and adolescents regarding their social media and internet use in order to understand the information they're accumulating into their developing brains. This helps develop a trusting rapport with caregivers for when young people are faced with distressing content, such as violence, extremism, being groomed or recruited for sexual, social, political gain. They know that they can come back to their parents, mothers, caregivers to guide them in their next pivotal steps, to intervene before it's too late, to help them learn how to fish rather than simply feeding them fish. Mothers have the soft power to influence who their children play with, interact with online. They have a sixth sense of what types of content will not be appropriate for their child's impressionable mind, and also know when to allow their child to learn from their mistakes on the bumpy road ahead. Mothers also know when to give their growing child a sense of freedom to explore their own identities online, so that they too can develop a positive sense of self-confidence and self-esteem in a world dominated by reliance and trust in machines and technology rather than one's own critical thinking. Because it truly takes a village to raise our youngest technology users, in a sense, we are all mothers when it comes to making sure our future digital ecosystem can be a safe, healthy, and thriving place without borders, with more peace and understanding.
That we have heard, one of which the video you saw a little bit of, and then the other one is from a very incredible lady as well. So the first one we are going to hear is the testimony of Mother Merdre Dautovic. I'm going to read it now. Thank you. Hello, I am Merdre Dautovic, a mother whose 2 children were killed by evil people, son Eden and daughter Edna, in Omarska camp in 1992. It is difficult to overcome all this, but with God's help, I found a way for myself, and I accepted what was happened to my Edna, who was tortured and raped for 60 days every night, and at the end, she was killed. Every day and every night since then, and to this day, it has been 33 years now, I fight for the truth, justice, and peace with women in black from Belgrade. And always, we are shoulder to shoulder. It is difficult to achieve peace, but first you have to be determined about what you want and persevere in seeking peace. All the women of the world must unite so that peace reigns. One can see that wars destroy everything, but women are the bond of peace and justice. Hate has never brought anyone any good, so I ask you all to not teach your children to hate. Hate creates conflict, quarrels, and misfortunes in the world. It's not good for anyone. I, as a mother, am going to Belgrade to face the war crimes court. I am watching the murderer of my son, Edna, and 51 other people he murdered. He is defending himself from freedom, but I don't see him because there is no hatred in me. God is the one who will give me punishment. I pray that peace and tolerance will prevail in the world. We don't have to love each other, but we can respect each other. My dear woman, march bravely through life and beyond. Preserve peace and justice. Justice and truth win. Big hug, Mother Merja. And I will now read the testimony of Liljana Nesik. My name is Liljana Nesik. I am not a politician nor a military strategist, but I am an activist who has learned that even the deepest struggle is fought quietly every day, with every thought, with every step that does not go backward, and that is my power. The power to remind the world that peace is not a luxury, but a right. My fight for peace began the day that I realized I could not promise my children a future. The moment I looked them in the eyes and realized that I no longer had the right to remain silent. It began in the silence between two tears as I watched the news and wondered how we had come to this. Not here, not today, not while injustice spreads like smoke through homes, where women have stopped dreaming and children grew up too soon. I began when I refused to let hatred speak in my name. I chose to speak even when they told me to be silent, to walk even when they forbade me to. I realized that I don't have to be part of a system to change it. It is enough to remain myself. I am not a fighter in uniform, but I am a fighter for human rights, a fighter for life. Speaking of peace, I did not use big words. I spoke about dignity, about the right for my daughter not to have to choose between safety and freedom, about the right for my son to grow up without anyone telling him if he is weak or if he feels. The power of a mother not to raise a conqueror, but a man. I spoke about women who survived violence, about how peace is not built when growth stops, but when a woman in her community lifts her head again and says, enough is enough. So she no longer carries the burden of silence, judgment, and injustice. They decided to speak, and I stood with them, and I learned that the strongest voice does not come from shouting, but from truth. That is why today I am addressing you, young people, not to tell you what to think, but to call on you to not give up. Sorry, there's more. Let your courage be gentle. Let your word be a bridge. And let your heart never agree to a world in which women are silent and peace is a privilege. That is why today I say that mothers are not borders. They erase them. Our love does not ask for nationality. Our grief does not know religion. Our struggle does not stop before flags. Because when one mother rises, she stops a wave of hatred. And when 1,000 of us rise, then the peace begins, and we can build it with our words, with our hands, with our resistance. And believe me, nothing is stronger than when women unite, when mothers rise, and when young people decide that enough division is enough. And do not forget the world in which mothers are silent before injustice ceases to be a world for children. Let us not wait for someone else to bring peace. We will create it ourselves, here, where we were born. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you for that, Eliza. And now we will have Sonia Lokar speaking more about mothers. Give a round of applause for her, please. Thank you.
I would like just to add some explanations or some background to what was said by Maira Dautovic, the mother, who said that she lost 2 kids by evil people who killed her in Bosnia and Herzegovina. What is so interesting and different in her approach to how to make peace? The difference is that she is fighting for peace together with women from Serbia, from the nation who killed the children she lost. And she decided to stand with them and to go to the court of justice in order to testimony what happened to her, but not in order to hate those who did that, but only to get justice for their children and to start from this point to have peace in her heart and also peace in her society. There is no peace if there is no justice, and there is no justice if people cannot reconcile. And this is why I think this is one of the roles of the mothers. And the other one is to stay together in solidarity. This is the most important thing. In the moment when in the countries where I live, in the Balkans, we have several autocratic regimes. Whenever a woman who is a fighter for peace and human rights is attacked, we all come together and we defend her by sending our messages directly to two sides. First to those who are oppressing her, and then to those who are in Europe and are supporting their path towards Europe. So we are again trying to use our famous sandwich strategy in order to get these women out of danger. Every country can do things like this. Every women's movement can do things like this. It's not too difficult. The only thing you need to do is to be together and not to look in other side. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm here and I have the honor to introduce Aisha Abubakar Boju. She's a Nigerian police officer and also a veterinary scientist. She joined the force in 1995 and she dedicated her whole career to public health and safety. In 2005, she received the UNESCO Fellowship for Innovative Tuberculosis Research, and during the during the COVID-19 pandemic, she led the Police Palliative Support Program. In 2022, she became Monitor General of the Senior Exclusive Course 44 at the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. Thank you.
I'm not supposed to be at the podium, and I Francesco Vieni, you are too kind and too generous, and it's not my day, it's their day. Vieni qua, Filippo. So these are the two men that are supposed to be at the podium, but we cannot introduce Her Royal Highness. She is the wife of the king. And the most important thing is she is also the first female from the north well-decorated police officer in Nigeria. She earned it. She's a PhD. She has a PhD. And she will speak a little bit about what she has done. But I think it's worth it to all give her a big round of applause. Welcome. Woo! Woo! Woo!
Thank you very much. I'm trying to look back. Am I the one that they're talking about? Okay, I'm supposed to use this, right? Hello? Sorry? Yes. So, okay, good. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed a great honor and privilege for me to stand before you this morning and just share my own perspective about the phenomenology of mothers' soft power in peace building. First and foremost, I need to, technology. Today is technology day, so I have I have to be up with my technology, right? All right, thank you very much. This morning, okay, sorry. Good. All right, I am standing before you today not just as an Inspector General of Police, but I have been introduced. I am AIG. AIG means Assistant Inspector General of Police. Aishatu Abubakar Baju, MNI. MNI is a member of the National Institute. It's a very prestigious title in Nigeria for you to reach that height, that position, to wear the yellow badge. So I'm speaking as a mother also, the mother of Nuruddin, the mother of Binta, and the mother of Zulaihat, and other children around the world, especially in Nigeria, because for us in Africa, motherhood is beyond biological. You don't have to give birth to a child to be the mother. So what it means is that your influence extends beyond just your biological children. In that way, you are building peace across cultures. I am a Hausa woman. I'm from the northern part of Nigeria. And I have children that are Yorubas. I have children that are Igbos. I have children, different languages. In Nigeria, we speak over 300 languages in Nigeria. So I have children from all over. So in that, you have influence that which extends, which build peace across cultures. So building in that way, you are now building the mother's soft power. Mother's soft power is lived, it's not abstract. And it's a silent force that nurtures, that reconciles, and builds peace across families, across communities, and across nations. So my story is one example of how mother's instinct translates into leadership, into peace building. And my story is just one thread in the vast tapestry. I was born in one beautiful town of Biu in Borno State in Nigeria. I was raised in Nigeria where societal expectations, especially for me from the north, societal expectations often confine a girl child's dream. You're expected to marry at a certain age. You can't reach 20-something. Sometimes they tell you that you can't even have your first menstruation in your father's house in some cultures. Yet, my parents, I was particularly raised by my grandmother, a very wonderful woman. Though she never went to formal school, just she went for an Islamic school, but not a formal Western education. And even though she never went to school, but she was a matron in a secondary school. And you know how matrons were. They were very strict. Yes, in a girls' school, So she was kind of in charge of girls. She would come and wake girls in the morning, and she knew exactly the importance of education. So I was raised in that environment, of school environment. The matron used to have her quarters among the students, just very close to the student hostel. For those that are coming from Nigeria, I know you understand what I'm talking about. But she raised me in such a way that she made me understand that you can actually have a profession, you can have a career, you can be a mother, you can be anything. I remembered in those days when youth corpus, every year we have, when you graduate from university, you have 1 year mandatory service to your nation. So you call it NYSC. And whenever she sees the youth corpus as a child, she would just say, oh, don't worry. My Indo, she used to call me Indo, that's my pet name, will grow up and one day she'll serve. That was her dream. If you come, you're a lady or even a man, you are driving a car, you come and park. Say, well, my Indo one day will grow and she'll buy a car. And I'm happy before she died, I was able to at least do NYSC. I was a police officer, and I bought a car, and I was taking her in a car. She died of a liver problem, a kidney problem, sorry. So she was always going for dialysis. I had a driver taking her to the hospital. So I'm so happy that at least her dream was, she achieved her dream. She saw me grow, do all those things that she dreamt about. And she told me that motherhood can can coexist with professional excellence. That's the kind of way I grew up. However, I had my mother's side and my father's side were two different sides. My father came originally from Kano, and I don't want to say they don't want to. Most of them I'm the first graduate in the family. So for them, girls don't have any business going to university. While my mother's side, my mother was a civil servant, she worked. So the thinking was that, I had a condition before I could go to the university, you have to get married. And I had to get married at a very early age. I became a mother as a teenager. So it was a big struggle growing up. You are in the university, you are a mother. I don't know which one to think about. I had left a very tiny child. But although, as I said, in Africa, motherhood is beyond biological. My son was raised with full of love in my family house. So he grew up, and at some point, my younger ones used to, they still call me sister, auntie. And he too grew up to call me auntie, thinking that I'm his sister. So as a mother, I discovered the first truth of mother's soft power, the ability to hold multiple realities. And as a police officer also, I realized that I could integrate the nurturing and empathetic qualities of motherhood into peace building. I'm somebody that believes in developing herself. Each time I speak to my young officers, I tell them that if you cannot update your CV every 6 months, I think you are not living. It means you are not really living, because living means you are active, you keep improving yourself. So I'm that kind of a person, and I used to have a boss, then the chief of staff to the president. I was opportune to serve 6 sitting presidents in Nigeria. Yeah, in my university, I read, first and foremost, apart from being police officer, I studied veterinary medicine for my first degree. I'm a doctor of veterinary medicine. I joined the force in the force animal branch, trained at the police college in Lagos, Ikeja. My joining police, I had a lot of questions as an officer. How did you join the police? It wasn't a plan then. I never dreamt to be a police officer. And yesterday I was encouraged. I think one of the speakers yesterday said, sometimes you just start a new job and you realize that you have a purpose. You develop love for that particular. But I never woke up to say I want to be a police officer. In fact, as a matter of fact, growing up, I used to be so afraid of police. That was what they used to control me at home when I was naughty. Police, and I'll go under the bed. So my whole family was shocked, turning out to be a police officer. So during that, and my career as a police officer, in my usual way of keep building my capacity, I opted to go for my PhD in the UK, the University of Plymouth. I worked on the molecular epidemiology of bovine and human tuberculosis. And that one earned me the UNESCO Fellowship Award for Young Women in Science, among 14 other women in the world. They give it globally. So when I became that mother and then pursuing at that time, unfortunately, the first marriage that I had to do at the younger age collapsed. Just my princess said, for strength, I think I also needed that strength. So along the line, also I remarried. And then when I went to the UK to study, it was another challenge because you're now pursuing career, you're now pursuing education, running between lullabies and doing research. At some point, I had to bring my mother software. She abandoned everything she was doing, and she had to join me in the UK for 9 months because I had to sit in the lab to do, sometimes for those that are in science, you run PCR for hours, extracting DNAs and so on and so forth. So I had to bring my mother. All these are maternal traits in peace building. Patience, it taught me patience. It taught me intuition, persistence, and that career. At that time I was married. My husband could not, he can't leave his job and come. Can't leave marriage, children, public duty and private life without conflicts. And during that time I also had to balance research and raising children, which was quite difficult. Cost of child minding is very expensive in the UK. They charge you per hour. That was why I had to bring my mother. Those are not only mother's traits, they are peace-building traits, helping us persist, reconcile differences, and nurture harmony. Now, I went to a job, I don't want to go through all, it's just so many things happen in between. At some point, I was made the gender advisor to the Inspector General of Police. For me, that was one of, I think I'm so fortunate, because it gave me the ability, the opportunity to make those changes that I felt should be made in terms of what was happening in the Nigerian police. It gave me the opportunity to see how those things that were not right in terms of gender mainstreaming, gender equality, equal opportunity within the Nigerian police force, I was able to see how I could bring in these changes. And I was also fortunate, or I am fortunate, to have a boss that is also gender sensitive. We call him our he for she Inspector General of Police. So my role as a first gender advisor brought not just professional expertise, but mothers' insight into an institution that is traditionally male-dominated. One of the things that when I was appointed, it was just at the point of COVID-19. When the men, there was a restriction, there was lockdown. So as police officers, every police officer was concerned with enforcing the restriction of movement. That was the focus. But for me, as a mother, that mother's instinct came into being, and I said, a lot of women were suffering. A lot of things was going on, and women actually needed support. Both families of the police officers and also communities around us. And I thought I gathered my female officers, all of us with mother's soft power. So what can we do different, apart from restricting people? It can be annoying, isn't it? You want to go out, maybe there's something you really need to get and you can't go. Families are suffering. So what can we do as mothers? And we now came and I gathered all our women And we, from our own pockets, from our own little resources, we put down some money. And we have friends, we have a lot of goodwill, friends around, and we raised funds. And we bought lots and lots and lots of food. Or you can see from, what happened to, thank you. You can see from this, it's a truck loaded with food stuff. That's just one part of the trucks. We distributed, we had packs of rice, beans, vegetable oil, eggs, and a lot of the packs of food. We were able to reach out to over 2,500 families during the COVID-19, just to give our support, to make difference. And that's how a mother's soft point power is. That when others are thinking about just enforcing laws, we are thinking about the welfare of the citizens, and also building trust, because it now gave a kind of relief. Oh, the police are also supporting with food. So at least they will listen to us, right? Much, much better. If you say, go and sit down, say, oh yeah, actually we're empathetic about their own situation. And the second thing is the uniform, what I call the uniform revolution. Over the years as a police officer, I realized that, yes, I had my children, at least 2 of them. I have 3. Oh, 5 minutes, God, my God. Okay. So the introduction of, I thought I had children, there was no opportunity for me to wear maternity dress. There was no earring. So the introduction of maternity wears earrings and headscarves, because we came up with it to give equal opportunity for those. There are a lot of girls out there in some communities, because of their religious belief or values, they can't go with their heads open. And I tried to introduce the headscarf, so that if you want to cover, it shouldn't be a hindrance for you to join the police. So it's not merely a policy change for me, it was a mother's soft power recognizing that professional identity need not erase feminine and cultural identity. And a policewoman could not choose between her unborn child. And then we also developed what I call the mentorship. I never see senior women, not very few of them, that had guided us as we are growing. And I felt we need to domesticate, we need to have a mentorship program for young women in the Nigerian police, established, which is now like that nurturing capacity of a mother. As a mother, you want to nurture growth for the next generation. So just like I guide my own children through life challenges, I recognize the need to guide young female officers through the masculine landscape of enforcement. And then we had to we developed the gender policy to come up with policies that will be able to give equal opportunity for women. We came up with standard operating procedure for the response to gender-based violence, which is quite rampant. And that is where I think my mother's soft power was most evident. So as a mother of 2 daughters, every case of sexual and gender-based violence was not just a statistic for me, but a reflection of what could happen to any mother's child. This personal stake infused urgency and empathy into what could have been a mere bureaucratic procedure, but a mother's urgent response to the pain of daughters everywhere. Mother's soft power became an institutional peace building. Breaking barriers, I said, for years I liked that. I became the first president of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria after 65 years of the council, and also became the first Monitor General of the National Institute for the Sec 44 of the National Institute for Policy, which has never, in 44 years of the institute, no woman has. So it was not only about gender milestone for me. Each step reconciled divisions between tradition and modernity, masculine and feminine, leadership, and then all norms and progressive change. So peace is not about ending wars alone. It is also about creating space where everyone belongs. God recognition, as I said, UNESCO, national product. There are 2 major presidential awards in Nigeria, which is the National Productivity Order of Merit, then and then the National Merit Award. Amongst them, there are MFR, OON, so many others. And I was opportune to also benefit from the 2 categories of the presidential award in Nigeria. That's Officer of the Order of the Niger. I was also opportune to get the Nigerian Police Special Achievement Award by the Inspector General of Police, and then I was inducted into the Nigeria Female Hall of Fame and the Woman of the Year 2020, among other awards that I've gotten. So each step, as I said, reconciled divisions between tradition and modernity. Then the Royal Mother. That's me there. Now, it gave me opportunity for dual role of a wife of an emir, which brings about a professional leader. As a professional, it gives me that unique bridge from being a police officer to going down to the community, to the grassroots with my people. So a professional leader mediating between tradition and modern power. This dual role shows how modern soft power can harmonize contradictions and build peace where others might see conflicts. And also cultural integration, mothering across traditions, because different traditions. Now I have to be fast, right? I'm sure she will now come and say 2 minutes or 1 minute. The international dimension, yes, last year I was opportune to host 20 African countries at the International Association of Women Police Conference, which is a training and program. And that one also gave me the opportunity to show the modern soft power in building continental peace through solidarity. Why do we need modern soft power? In the long term, mothers naturally think in generational terms. Every policy I champion, every barrier I break, I consider not just its immediate impact, but its effect on children, on my children, our children, everybody's child. Then empathetic authority of a mother. The authority derived from caring, from having skin in the game of human development, creates a different kind of credibility than a formal position alone. And then the inclusive growth of a mother. That one also, the inclusiveness, as a mother, if you have 10 children, you don't want to leave any one of them behind. So will you bring that into your job? You have 10 children, everybody, you want to see everybody. So this translates into leadership that prioritize collective advancement over individual achievement. And then the resilient patience of a mother. Then intuitive intelligence of a mother. All these are being put into it. Challenges, of course there are challenges. Burden of perfection. They want you to be a perfect mother, a perfect leader, a perfect wife, a perfect everything. Is there perfection? Peace itself is not perfect. There is no perfection in it. And then the cultural resistance. For me, coming from the north, I can tell you, even Professor Ibrahim, we know it. Every culture has its own challenge. And then the work-life balance. I don't want to say local. Is there anything like balance? Actually, there is no balance. It's just work-life integration, not balance. There is no way. My daughter has been crying. My daughter looked at me and said, "Mommy, do you know that they are thinking that Herein is my mother?" That was my only, because you always have to have support system. My daughter, the youngest one, looked at me the other day. I came back from a travel like this, and then she came early in the morning. I was sleeping. "Sweetheart, you are going to school. The driver is taking her and my only." And she said, "You see, everybody's mother is taking their children to school. You are sleeping." So is this a balance? So sometimes, you have to give and take. But that is what a mother's soft power is anyways. Then global implications, modern soft power offers the world for development, generational vision, for leadership, empathy, for policy. Today, for policy, we are talking about sensitivity to families and communities as the bedrock of peaceful societies. Now, today is technology. I prepared for day one as a mother, and then I look at it. How do I infuse technology? I looked at how has it actually helped me? For global reach, using the impact of technology can amplify this soft power that we have. And for leadership, again, we can have amplified through technology. All these things that we are, because whatever we do is about technology. Now I'm sure those that are controlling the YouTube are seen that I have mobilized to amplify what we're talking about. I've shared with my friends, listen to what we are all saying this morning to make a difference. And for policy, we harness soft power and motherhood for sensitivity to community building as the foundation of peaceful mothering peace into the future. My journey from Butte to Harvard. You know, when Professor Howard came to me and said, I want to go to Harvard, it has been my dream to come to Harvard. I've been developing myself all this while, but I told my daughter, she's studying in the UK. I said, when I finish paying your school fees, it's very difficult to get pound sterling. The next thing I'm going to save, and I'm going to Harvard. And then Professor Howard came and said, I'm inviting you to speak in Harvard. And I'm excited to just come. Now I'm not coming just to come and be a student. At least I'm part of training, that we're talking about a conversation, a colloquium. So, and from veterinary medicine to policing, from motherhood to royalty, my journey demonstrates one truth. Mother's soft power is not a limitation. It is a multiplier of peace. If peace is the absence of violence, then mother's soft power is the presence of care and vision. And the future belongs to those who mother humanity into peace. In conclusion, to mothers in leadership, what I want to say, embrace your identity. It is your greatest peace-building tool. To institutions, integrate mother's soft power as a strategic asset. Recognize the impact of technology in mothering the world. I know my sister, Ikilima, is going to talk about that. So, and to the society, let us mother the world into peace, patiently and inclusively. The future will not be built by force alone, not by the uniform I wear, but by the steady hands and nurturing hearts of those who know how to mother humanity itself. So, let us mother the world into peace, patiently, that's what I want to leave you with, inclusively and sustainably. Thank you very much. I should sit? Yeah. Thank you. Let me take my
Yeah. So if you have any question for her, be free to, yeah. Oh, sorry. So if you have any question, be free to ask. Anyone? Raise your hands if you have any question. Thank you.
Ruth James. I am just blown away by your accomplishments, and I'm just inspired by all that you've done, so thank you. My question is in reference to mentorship in the workplace. I have seen a lot of people go to school, acquire, achieve careers and goals. Sometimes there's no internships available. And so they go on the job, they're fresh from school, and they're expected to perform. They don't know everything. Like, going to school is one thing, but like really performing and being on the job is another thing, because you meet some things that maybe you have the theoretical knowledge of it, but you don't have like the practical knowledge of it. And some people are not willing to really mentor people that come in. They expect you should know this. If you don't know it, you become a burden to the job. Like, you're not. So how do you advise people to be a little human when they have employees that perhaps struggle in certain areas, and those who have been seasoned on the job can help them along the way? Because it's not that they're ignorant, but it's like they need that help. how do you advise people in that certain? Thank you.
Thank you very much. It's a difficult thing. As I told you, what actually made me took that decision, I have watched myself grow through from assistant superintendent of police when I joined, up to this rank of assistant inspector general of police. And I realized that there are a lot of mistakes that I made, that if I had someone guiding me, holding my hand through the way, maybe I wouldn't have made those mistakes. There are some challenges I faced. I never had someone that would sit with me and share his or her own experience. You know, sometimes just the fact that you know someone has been through it and sharing the experience of how they are able to cope with it or to go through it will help you a lot. It gives you a little bit of relief. Oh, I'm not alone in this. So with that, I came from that, and I felt, and then from in the police also, I realized that the women are usually left behind. You come, you pass through the academy, they are boys and girls. You pass out, and then at the point, the men just pass by. And then they find themselves at the top positions, leaving their classmates behind. And I found out what was the problem. So all these things were the things that made, because at that particular time when you pass out from the academy, it's at your productive age. So you want to start having babies, you want to have families. So in that struggle of that balance, you can't really balance, and that's why I say you can't balance. So you lag behind. So how do we support these women? What we've been through, how do we support them? And I used to tell them, they laugh about it. And I said, it's high time we start considering childbearing as a national service. So I intentionally started the mentorship program, first building capacity. We selected senior women in the police across the federation to train them as mentors. First and foremost, they need to understand what it is to mentor young female officers. Then, after training them, now we're now talking about pairing them up with young officers right from the academy. We identify them, we attach you to a mentor. So you have your mentees. So it has to be intentional, it has to be systemic. Otherwise, if it's just a random thing that you just like, oh, we are mentoring, it doesn't. So for us, the police is a regimented organization. So if I tell you that I've attached you to Assistant Zainab is an assistant commissioner of police, and I attach a young female officer to her, it's a responsibility that I'm going to be monitoring what you're doing and monitoring her as well. So it has to be, and the institution has to be intentional about its mentorship program. Thank you.
Any other question? Yeah, what?
A comment I wanted to make. We were talking in the car first, and I said how the police, unfortunately, across the world, the tendency is to, we don't have a view in communities about the police that is as favorable as it should be given the role of the police. Especially then also in some places like Nigeria, where the fear of the police is still very pervasive. As a mother and as a woman in the role you're in, which is a role that's new for women to come into, how do you begin to change that view or begin to inculcate that view of police as a resource, as the friend, as you guys promote it, so that it goes beyond just you saying it, but becoming something that the community sees as a force that they should recognize? How do you see doing something like that?
Yes, thank you very much. Now, when I was talking about the COVID-19, it was an eye-opener. That in my position as a first gender advisor, we just launched the Nigerian Police Gender Policy. The gender policy is about talking about gender responsive policy and also building trust among the communities. When you have a police that is engendered, that understands the needs of the society they serve, it makes a lot of difference. It builds trust, confidence, because you see that it is your police, that they understand the needs of the man, the needs of the woman, the needs of the boy and a girl. And we respond effectively. And we, especially the case, now we came up with this standard operating procedure for gender-based violence. Because we don't want, in those days where a woman will be raped and the policeman will ask, why are you dressed like that? If you are dressed like that, then you can be raped. Or you were raped in his house, you went to his house, what did you do? So we are now beginning to change minds, to engender our processes, for the police officer, and that's why one of the things that we have done also is to engender our training curriculum. So that every policeman that passes out through the police understands, and I'm happy that that's the vision of the Inspector General of Police. We have an Inspector General of Police that is gender sensitive, gender responsive in his approach, and has given equal opportunity. And first of all, I said, we need to make sure that we as police officers, also we have sensitized and we understand that within, both within and outside the police force, we are gender responsive in both our systems and operations. Thank you.
Yeah, there is another question.
You answered most of the question, but similar to the Lieutenant General. I wanted to ask, in addition to including women and mothers as leaders and having mentors in those roles and having an Inspector General to set that culture, do you believe that that is the best way to enforce that as a culture of change? Is there a culture of change?
Absolutely, it's a culture.
Or is it just specific places?
No, it's a cultural change. They want to put, that's why I talk about the systems, in our entire systems. We want to make sure that we mainstream gender across board. And that's the commitment of the Inspector General of Police, to mainstream gender and be sensitive and provide an equal opportunity institution, both within and then outside in terms of our response to the community that we serve.
All right. Thank you very much. So now I'm going to introduce Dr. Safiya Noble. Is the author of Algorithm of Operation, a widely recognized book on algorithm basis. She's the David O. Sears Presidential Endowment Chair of Social Science and Professor of Gender Studies. Dr. Noble is the Director of the Center on Resilience and Digital Justice and co-director of the Mindero Initiative on Teach and Power at USALA. And in 2021, she was recognized as a MacArthur Foundation Fellow. Please join me to welcome Dr. Safiya Noble. Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Safiya Noble. I am the David O. Sears Presidential Endowed Chair of Social Science at UCLA, and it's really a pleasure to be able to address you today. Hi there. My name is Safiya Noble. I am the David O. Sears Presidential Endowed Chair of Social Science at UCLA, and it's really a pleasure to be able to address you today. I'm sorry that I can't be there. Hi there. My name is Safiya Noble. I am the David O. Sears Presidential Endowed Chair of Social Science at UCLA, and it's really a pleasure to be able. Hi there. My name is Safia Noble. I am the David O. Sears Presidential Endowed Chair of Social Science at UCLA, and it's really a pleasure to be able to address you today. I'm sorry that I can't be in person with you, but I am really grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit about my work. Over a decade ago now, I would say,
Sorry for the technological
back in
difficulties. We're gonna now take our break.
2011.
So if everybody could please head downstairs.
Hi there.
We have some
My name is Safia Noble. I am.
Okay, 10-minute break. Thank you. It will be on the ground floor, so everybody will take the elevator down to the ground floor. Thank you.
The David O. Sears Presidential Endowed Chair of Social Science at UCLA, and it's really a pleasure to be able to address you today. I'm sorry that I can't be there in person with you, but I am really grateful for the opportunity to share a little bit about my work. Over a decade ago now, I would say, back in 2011 and 12, I started studying the ways in which search engines specifically, but more broadly, digital technology systems were misrepresenting and in some cases, and I was really curious back then how it was that we engaged with these large scale digital platforms on the internet as if they were neutral, apolitical, unbiased. In fact, the way most people talked about them back then was they were kind of just programmed to meet the needs of the most universal base of users that might participate in those systems, and that if there were errors or if there were problems or people experienced harm in those sites, then that was a matter of what the users, what the public was doing with those systems. It had nothing to do with the design of those platforms and what those platforms were facilitating. In fact, of course, we know that many technology companies have used this argument really since the rise of Silicon Valley and have, used policies like Section 230 of the left to the users of these systems. And by using that argument as a shield, they were able to avoid any kind of legal or political accountability for
huh. Now I can connect to mine. Good morning. How are you? Really? Okay, here we go. So, I've changed up the song a little bit. I've been listening to everybody and how the feedback. And so I, last night worked on the song that you guys have just coined, Yaya, and I've done a new version of it, and here we go. Such a wicked thing, children dying young, like the leaves in spring. In these wars we wage and the lives we take, let's not lose ourselves to hate. Just be present in the essence of the innocent, embrace the blessings you've been given to forgive your sins. And in the silence of the violence, a call of peace will be crowned. A peaceful warrior leading with love. Come on, it's in the numbers. The nurture might symbol of life. The gentle touch is stronger. With every word I build the print. Take the mother's hand to a peaceful warrior leading with love. A nurtured light, a gentle touch is stronger. The power we need is deep and it resides in us. Yeah, yeah. A peaceful warrior leading with love. A nurtured light, a gentle touch is stronger. The power we need is deep and it resides in us. Right, and nice and soft now. Ah, yeah. Hey ya ya, hey ya ya, hey ya ya, hey ya ya, hey ya ya. This is all us. This is live. No backup. Hey ya ya, 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 hey ya ya. Oh yeah. Yeah, nice and gentle. I love it. Alright. I learned this all from you guys, listening to you and telling me things, all the feedback. Okay. Second verse for you. Here we go. The last verse. Here we go. before I go. Huh. Hey ya ya, hey ya ya, hey ya ya, hey ya ya, hey ya ya. This is the last thing, ya ya. Oh, here we go. Hey, hey ya ya, 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 hey ya ya. A peaceful warrior leading with love, a nurtured light, a gentle touch is stronger. The power we need is deep and it resides in us. Yeah, yeah. A peaceful warrior leading with love, a nurtured light, a gentle touch is stronger. The power we need is deep and it resides in us. Thank you. We're on a time schedule. I gotta go. God bless you all. It's been a real experience. I love you guys. What we're doing here is something great, something bigger than everybody here. Let's, make this happen. I know the world is feeling it. Hello to everybody out there in the YouTube world.
Okay, thank you so much, Ray. Give me 1 second. Okay, so it is my absolute honor to welcome to the stage Khadija. Khadija Abdullahiya is a visionary entrepreneur, lawyer, author, and mentor, and most importantly, a mother. With expertise in public policy and governance, she designs innovative solutions for social issues. Khadija is a doctoral fellow from the Institute of Global Peace and certified global arbitrator. She is an accredited specialist and instructor for gender-based violence and a diplomatic fellow of GBV from the Federation of International Gender and Human Rights, as well as fellowship with other institutions. She has received the Award for Excellence for Promoting Quality Education, been nominated twice for the Peace Prize from Federation of International Gender and Human Rights. Join me in welcoming Khadija. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Yes. So my role today is to talk about parenting in a digital age. So I'm trying to be as minimalistic as I can. So Africa's rich cultural heritage is a testament to its resilience. Yet we are all confronted with the stark reality of rapid social decay, particularly amongst our youth. As a community that prides itself on respect, empathy, and human dignity, it's imperative we prioritize the holistic, transformative development of our young people. So we started our CSR program called the CISA program, which is an effort to inculcate the values of volunteerism, leadership, and patriotism. We felt this is needed. And by using our collective soft power, we have been mentoring and grooming young people. I was sure that will gradually change the stratosphere of social environmental depravity. We have graduated at this time about 15 sets, about 800 of them, and still going strongest. We feel that by re-engineering their minds to appreciate and internalize our cultural values, we can revive the virtues that define us, virtues like community, cooperation, and mutual respect. Our tradition of volunteerism and community service is a cornerstone of who we are. And it's very essential we pass this legacy on to the next generation. How do we go about inculcating these virtues through social media? That's a big question that we should all think about as mothers. To consider, it's something that we need to all collectively sit down and think about. As we know that parenting in the age of social media requires a very thoughtful and collaborative approach. When we have more parents understanding that we must drive the value of Ubuntu more than ever before, that I am, Ubuntu is I am because you are. To understand how to navigate the complexities of the digital world with our teens, we must consider the following strategies. We must embrace digital literacy, understanding the digital landscape by familiarizing ourselves with the social media platforms is the only way, as world village mothers, we can protect our children, especially our teens. If we do not know how to use it well, including the features of these tools, their risk and their benefits, we wouldn't be able to help our young ones. We must adopt critical thinking. We must use our soft powers as mothers. We must teach them how to use, how to set boundaries. Boundary setting, establishing clear rules and guidelines for social media use, and model responsible behavior ourselves. In Nigeria last year, cyberbullying awareness reached its peak because a young girl was bullied in the school, and it became a national issue. So we must learn to, that singular act raised a lot of awareness to many families to educate our teens about cyberbullying, its impact, and how to respond if they or someone they know is being bullied. How do you build a digital responsible environment? Screen time management, we know, I don't want to go into all of that now. We understand how we can manage screen time with our children. We must understand online etiquette. As mothers, we must also be intentional about teaching our teens about responsible and respectful digital interactions, and we must also model positive online behavior for our children. Monitoring and guidance, use parental controls judiciously, balancing supervision with independence and guidance, nurturing online safety. Privacy management, let's help our teens manage their online privacy and teach them about the importance of keeping personal information private. Online safety, let's educate our teens about online safety risk and teach them how to stay safe online. As we tell our children all of these things, let's be able to model responsible behavior ourselves. Teens learn from what we do. So model the behavior you want to see in your children. Encourage offline activities. Prioritize offline activities such as outdoor play. What we do in our family is we ensure that when we have a lot of picnics and we take them outside, we play all those games that we do play when we're children growing up. So the family are always looking forward to that. The grandchildren all come together and we do that. Stay involved. Regularly check in with our teens about their online activities and show interest in their digital lives. By following these strategies, we can all help our teens navigate the digital world safely and responsibly. Let's all take action today. Let's empower our teens to thrive in the digital age. Start the conversation when you have family gatherings. Set clear boundaries and model responsible behavior. Together, we can create a safer and more positive online community for all. We have the power to shape our teens' digital culture. Let's work together to ensure they have a healthy and positive online experience. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'd like to say thank you to Mothers Without Borders and the Peace Institute for this opportunity. Thank you all for listening.
Thank you so much, Khadija. I would now like to welcome Aklima Musa to the stage, who will be representing the Director General of NITA. Thank you very much. Welcome, Aklima.
Can I be able to feed this in? This is what happens when you have a big laptop. Hi, good morning, everybody. It is truly a pleasure and an honor for me to stand before you today to deliver this keynote address on behalf of my boss, Kashifu Inua Abdullahi, who is the Director General of the National Information Technology Development Agency, NIDA, an agency of the federal government of Nigeria that is saddled with the responsibility of regulating and developing all IT activities in the country. Let me begin with a simple observation, and I hope that I will be able to do justice to the topic that has been assigned to us. To begin with, our topic is going to talk about parenting and technology, and also leveraging technology for global peace. I'm happy we're speaking at MIT because over the years we've collaborated very closely with MIT. We've done MIT RIP in order to develop Nigeria's innovation ecosystem. We have also worked with the Legatum Center to put in some of our fellows from our country to ensure that we develop a vibrant innovation ecosystem. Allow me to begin with a simple observation. Every generation of parents have their challenges that are unique to their times. Our grandparents raised their children by sending them to the farms through trading, through early industries. Our parents raised us through urbanization, modernization, industrialization, and education. Today, we're raising our children in two worlds. We're raising them in the physical world, and we're also raising them in the digital world. Our children are digital natives. This comes with a lot of potentials and perils. Speaking of generation, the first industrial revolution started within 1760s to 1840s, and it ushered in steam, it ushered in mechanization, and the economic growth at the time per year is just between 0 to 5%. Second industrial revolution started between 1870s to 1940. It ushered in electricity, steel, textiles. Economic development around the time is just about 1.9%. Third industrial revolution from 1960s to 2000, and that ushered in computers, electronics, and internet. Today, in the 21st century, we are in the fourth industrial revolution, and this is being driven by technology. Technologies such as AI, IoT, blockchain, robotics, you can name it. That has huge potentials to lift many out of poverty. Technology is the bedrock of economics, societies, and governance. And I would speak as a mother to 3 children, a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and an 18-month-old daughter. Every day, our children have access to internet, but we're not fully aware of what they do. Statistics shows that most children have cell phones at an early stage of 11 to 12. Reportedly, about 98% of 15-year-olds have their own smartphones. In Nigeria, data shows that 56% of 11 to 16-year-olds have no form of restrictions on their internet use. This is a double-edged sword. This is our reality. It brings a lot of promises to the table. Our children are able to connect globally. They are able to learn. They are able to access content that has never been accessed before. But its perils. It brings a lot of harm sometimes. Cyberbullying, harmful content, and online radicalization, to name a few. The question is not whether children will use technology. That has already been decided. The question is, how do we guide them to use those technologies effectively, proficiently, and safely? And here, parents have a new role, especially mothers. We must evolve from being passive guardians to becoming active digital mentors, teaching digital ethics at home, modeling healthy online behavior, and holding open conversations with our children. Parenting today isn't only about empathy and critical thinking. It is also about screen limits. But families cannot shoulder this alone. Parenting in the digital age it's a two-sided coin. It requires the parent, and it also requires the government that puts the guardrails together. And for us in Nigeria, we drafted the National Child Online Protection Policy under my agency and was signed by the President in March 2023. This is in the best interest of the Nigerian child so that the Nigerian child can be protected, and also to give access to stakeholder engagement. Is there something wrong? This is the power of technology. I mean, it made us all silent, right? So the Save Online Experience policy and strategy. Is it a timer? Okay. All right. So speaking of that, that is one thing that we try to put together as a guardrail, as a country ourselves. And what we want to do is to give access to, or to create a legal and institutional framework that protects our children. We also want to have a stakeholder engagement, because it is not just one stakeholder. We have caregivers, we have guardians, we have governments across boards that are all stakeholders of this. We also want to give access to education. We want to give access to national awareness, capacity building, reporting channels, out of the few of the things that this instrument is going to bring to the table. We're currently in the level of implementing that. We also have the code of practice for online interactive platforms. When we talk about those platforms, we're talking about big tech companies that have presence in the country. We want to protect, we want to bring about content moderation. We want to ensure that what is legal, what is illegal offline is also illegal online. We also want to ensure at the same time that legal content that are harmful to our children, it is legal, but it is harmful, are put down. We're currently working on a draft online harm bill as well as an act, which is going to connect everything together. The act is stronger than a code. The act is stronger than a guideline. Under the policy, we would also have a guideline as a supplementary document that would guide parents as to how, or would inform parents and give them the knowledge as to how they can be able to guide their wards, their children, to ensure that they have a safe online experience. Over the years, we've implemented several programs, including the Digital Literacy for All. And the government has set an ambitious target of achieving 70% digital literacy in the country between now and 2027. There are 6 competency areas that we want to cover, including data literacy and safety. And there are 23 proficiencies within what we're doing. We want to cover the workforce, we want to cover the formal sector, and we also want to cover the informal sector. Again, we're talking about the 4th industrial revolution being driven by AI. That means we have so many things to put together also in terms of that. But our vision is to build AI for Africa, not just in Africa. So for that, we are also trying to put a lot together, including our shared infrastructure, human capital development, and policies that would favor us. I hope I did a bit of justice to the topic given. Due to time, I would end here. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That was so wonderful to hear. We will now hear from Nazir Haliru. He's the Director General and CEO of Kano State Investment Promotion Agency, leading the multi-sectoral investment strategic agenda for Kano. Formerly, he served as the special advisor to the executive governor of Kano State on budget and economic planning. Before this role, Nazir also served as a senior advisor with Grid 3 Incorporated, as well as the Nigeria country manager for the Grid 3 program with Columbia University in the United States. In this role, he served as a focal point at the Federal Ministry of Budget and Economic Planning, supporting policy decisions and national development under Nigeria's national steering and technical committees set up by the presidency to use fundamental geospatial data layers on population, administrative boundaries, supplements, and points of interest to support planning and decision-making in health, education, climate, food security, etc. His experience qualifies him to be a pioneer member of the Gates Foundation Geospatial Insights Advisory Board for 1 year from 2023 to 2024. Please join me in welcoming him. Thank you.
Thank you for the introduction. Since we're at MIT, I want to copy and paste the already established protocol. Thank you so much for this great opportunity. As I said at Wellesley a few days ago, it's an honor to represent His Excellency, the Governor of Kano, who is unavoidably absent. He's supposed to be with us here because of his passion for development, passion for women, passion for youth, and entrepreneurship for development. That's a very good observation. Well, passion for women empowerment and girl child education as well. So this is a great opportunity, and also giving the opportunity for the youth, because the position that I hold now in Kano, before it used to be a position that you usually find people from nearly 50 to over 50 years old, but in my early 30s or mid 30s, I'm able to take up this huge responsibility to lead investment portfolio in Kano State. It's an economy that is 3% of the economy of Massachusetts when we talked about nominal GDP. But the population is so wide that the population of Kano is much more than the population of New York and Massachusetts combined. So you can think of it, but we have an administration that, you know, is forward thinking to reviving the economy through various means, especially my role that I take, as, you know, from the investment perspective, related to human capital development for youth and women, This has to do from foreign scholarships for girls and women that are underprivileged, and also to capacity building on skills acquisition from fishery to poultry to other things that are also beneficial to our large population. The economy has also been consistently, or the administration, allocating over 30% of its annual budgets to education, because we do understand education is a very critical sector that, of course, improves human capital development. An investment for women, over 5,000 women on a monthly basis receiving soft grants to start businesses. And these are mostly women that were affected by domestic violence. Some are widows, some are divorcees. Some are also underprivileged in a rural community that cannot afford up to $1 in a week or a month. So they are given a sub-grant to start small businesses so that they can cater for themselves, they can cater for the rural community and people with them. Because of this, also a social protection agency was created under the leadership of the state government, basically to provide some of the social protection facilities and also opportunities for the less privileged. We hope to launch a 5-year strategy, investment strategic plan for the states, which is going to transform all of these stories into opportunities for the less privileged, especially mothers, especially also women that are less privileged. This investment plan is really dedicated to gender inclusive, gender responsive budgeting, and also youth focused interventions into our investment framework. So we thought that the economy cannot move, or we cannot achieve sustainability unless we looked into this critical demographics, and also businesses that are going to support their activities and also promote inclusive value chain from agriculture to infrastructure to manufacturing and to also education. So these value chains are going to prioritize women-led businesses and entrepreneurship opportunities, as well as youth-owned enterprises. This is one of the major things that we're taking over the next 5 years to track the progress and to also track how much they've been doing. We've also mapped, when I came from the geospatial data background, we mapped the whole industries for that economy. So we have over 3,600 industries in Kano, out of which nearly 1,000 are moribund, and also we've done a lot of analysis around the ownership, the businesses, the sector, so that we can see how do we make it more inclusive. These are industries that have been established quite back 50, 60 years ago. Some are currently being established. So this is a focused decision by the administration to ensure that all are inclusive and also youth have opportunities to thrive. Lastly, we'd like to also extend our special gratitude and appreciation to Professor Hawa Ibrahim for bringing us together from diverse backgrounds, from different places, in order to talk our experience and also, to talk about experience and also to talk about opportunities going forward for the less privileged, especially those affected by one or two things. So it's also an inspiration for our young girls in Nigeria, looking up to Hawa Ibrahim as a role model, and by extension, Africa, so that our population would continue to thrive. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. I just want to take a second now, because we didn't do it before, to recognize Aklima Musa, as I did not have her introduction pulled up right before her speech. So I would just like to give her a little introduction after she gave her beautiful speech. So she is the SA to the Director General on Strategic Partnerships and the SA to the Director General of NIDA on Strategy and Innovation. Previously, she was the Senior Program Manager of the Office for Nigerian Content Development and Information Communication Technology, and also the Network Operations Manager at Suburban Fiber Company, and has done amazing work with NEET in Nigeria. So if we can take some time to appreciate Aklima. Okay, I would now like to welcome up our last three speakers up to the stage to take some Q&A. So if you all three could come up and sit down, we're going to now do a very short question and answer session. Thank you. I'll go first. I wanted to ask, Aklima, how you balance, this has been asked before, but just how you balance being a mother and your job at the same time. I know you have a lot to do with your work, but then also how do you balance being an amazing mother? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Eliza. I think that's a fantastic question, but I'll build upon what Ineji said. If you remember, she talked about how she was able to navigate school, career, husband, and a lot. And that's because women are very resilient. We have a lot of wisdom. We have the power to multitask. So for me, I would say me being able to manage my time is something. And I have a principle that I usually apply at home. It's quality over quantity. Because I usually don't have a lot of time with my kids, especially my 18-year-old. But when I come home, I allocate that time. And I ensure that I'm able to connect with them. Secondly is I have 18 months old. Did I say that?
I had to look at you.
Well, okay. That's why I corrected her so that she would know it. And I didn't even realize. All right, we're getting there. So the second thing is the support system that I have, that I try to leverage. I have people around that are really supporting me. And I have my surveillance cameras, so wherever I am, I'm seeing what they're doing at home. So that helps as well.
You've created some admirable boundaries for your people in Nigeria in the digital area. How do you enforce these? What are the ramifications or penalties of people who violate the ground rules that you have legally set out?
Fantastic question. I also think that we get a lot of this. So in terms of enforcement, there are different instruments actually. A policy is different from a code, and a code doesn't have as much power as an act. And what we try to do is when there is a content online, we have put some reporting channels together. But firstly, we, few years ago, banned one of the major platforms in the country, and they weren't operating for more than a year. And it was coming out of some speeches that were bringing about friction between government and the citizens. And because of that, the government came up with a code of practice for interactive online platforms. And that requires them to have presence in the country. When they have presence in the country, that means they have to comply to
we put that together and we ensured that what was illegal offline was also illegal online. And secondly, we tried to put some content moderations in place. We have a content moderation guideline, and also we created some channels of reporting. So for instance, when we have issues of hate speech, cyberbullying, child pornography, they are being reported to our agency and we escalate it. And within a few hours, it's brought down by the platform. So that's one of the things we're doing. Secondly is the presence that they have in the country is already connecting them with the populace. So we ensure that the populace really understood how these platforms operated so that we can be able to have this mutual understanding between us. We don't want to enforce. We want to do the right thing because the word enforce looks like a negative word. So the moment we try to enforce something on them, everybody shakes. They want to regulate me. I don't want to. So we try to create that friendly environment and enabling environment where we understood each other on different levels. And that's how we're working. So within the last 1 year, we were able to put down some content, around 12.7 million contents were put down on Google, on LinkedIn, and TikTok.
It's just one word. Incredible. Incredible.
Incredible?
Yes.
Can you explain why? Can you explain why in a sentence? We'll make it even harder.
So because the issue is, in my experience, technology depends on, of course, how you perceive it and also what you use it for. But in our own context and what we do is really incredible for us because it's helping us to make, effective decisions and also helping us to make policy-based decisions, especially around understanding, from investment perspective, we do understand what are the, like the projections that we need to make, what are the investment that we need to bring in to the states, especially as it relates to, youth inclusiveness, because we do understand, or not really, yeah, we do understand that over 70% of our population in the states, and they are more inclined to technology. So we tend to, use that from the positive way to understand that it's really incredible for us. Thank you.
For me, it's scary. It's a double-edged sword because so I'm a grandmother, and I've learned over the years through the work I do about the dark web, how when children lift up their tablets and put it in their eyes, the tablet can detect that this is a child, and then they give them unsolicited adverts of pornography, and this is how they get the children addicted, draw them into it, and also this is when the children also begin to go into different sites that they're not supposed to go. So for me, it's scary because if we do not have strong system, maybe strong institutions to be able to curb these things and protect our children, what then happens? And recently, because of the work I do, gender-based violence, I've seen a lot of children, parents who have come to us that talked about the children being suicidal and all of that. All of these things is because of the social media, likes, I don't have enough likes, I don't have, and then it depresses them. I think that, like what Iklima said earlier on, we as parents, as mothers,
must use our soft power effectively by being concerned and being intentional about how we monitor and guide our children online. Thank you. Somebody wants to ask a question.
I'm interested in how you integrate our youth in the decisions you make. I think they have some brilliance to share with us, and I'd like to know how you're welcoming them to the table as you make decisions about technology.
Who are you? Okay.
Anybody.
Okay.
All of you.
You want to respond? Okay. You go ahead. Go ahead. Okay. So I'll speak from what the government is doing to ensure that we include 70% of its population, which are youths. Firstly, we understand that for us to be able to develop technology and also the digital economy, we might have to include everybody, not just the youth, but women as well, and people under the marginalized communities. And we also understood that knowledge is at the base of everything we do. And so we have a way of including people through our regulatory intelligence framework, especially the youth. So one thing that we understand that the government usually does is it sits in its office and it comes up with armchair theory, regulations and policies, and it doesn't include stakeholders. The stakeholders are out there. If you really want to solve a problem, there is an Italian that said, shut up and listen. That's what, and that's the model that we usually apply. So we have a regulatory intelligence framework that is intelligent, it's dynamic, and it has an innovation angle. So we speak to our stakeholders and we ensure that they're carried along. We hear from them, then we come up with policies. Secondly, in terms of digital literacy and talent development, we carry our youth, we have a service year, usually in the country. Whenever you finish your degree, you have to go through a service year of 1 year for you to give back to your country. So those youths are there. We usually leverage them. We call them digital literacy champions. And we carry them along and we ensure that they are the ones that are training people that are not digitally literate in formal sectors and in informal sectors. We're also building the youth talent. We have a lot of talent program. We want to achieve a level of 3 million technical talents between now and 2027. So we have a lot of programs on board for the youth. Thank you. So because part of the work that we do is with youth, so I'll talk about, she's talked about the digital aspect of it. I will talk about the governance aspect of how youth should be put on the decision-making table. Because, like you said, we have 70% of them, as the demography is huge and massive. So what we do, like I explained when I was talking, is we want the youth to be ready mentally, youth to understand how to take ownership of the environment because of the mentality of our youth immigrating. They call it the Japa syndrome. So what we do, we prepare them with leadership. We mentor them with leadership, patriotism, and volunteerism, making them use all that they learned. So we have this program for 9 months. We feel that now 9 months is a very significant period for nurturing and growth, and from conception to the birth. So we teach each month, we teach them one component of leadership, of volunteerism, of entrepreneurship, of climate and environmental responsibility, of leadership, dimension leadership, after each of all of this content has been delivered, they will now begin to use, they will do a capstone project. So it wouldn't just last in the classroom. They now take responsibility, design the programs they are going to do according to the month theme that they've learned from the teachers or the lecturers and all of that, and they take it into the communities. So what we do is to ensure that we make the youth ready for the leadership that they're supposed to be. Thank you.
Yeah, I think they have said a lot. Mine, I just want to make it specific to my agency. I have up to like nearly 30 employees. So I do a bottom-up approach model, such a way that whatever thing that perhaps we need to do, maybe in terms of planning, in terms of reporting, in terms of policies and all that, I tend to adopt a bottom-up approach model. It comes with the youngest person, within the organization, within the specific work stream that I needed to work on that. So a bottom-up approach where it's being reviewed then by supervisor before it even gets to the executive or leadership level. That's a model that I use. So I ensure that they really take the ownership of everything that is needed to be done. And of course, I see a lot of changes. I see a lot of results. I see a lot of new technology, new innovations in what is being done. That's one. From the general perspective also, for a program that we need to do, or maybe for stakeholder engagement, we really also bring the youth to the forefront to ensure that they see what's really, I'm a youth also. So to ensure that they see what is really being done and what it's, how we do it, and then of course, the lessons that we need to learn. And as part of my employees, I have somebody that is up to 50 years old, who is like 20 years older than me, or perhaps more than like nearly 30 years older than me within my team. And we have somebody that is up to like 19, 20 years old. So you can understand the dynamics. So we tend to ensure that they are really championing most of the things that we do. And perhaps in the long run, learn from the top management for the sake of sustainability. And as long as we understand the notion that when you give them the opportunity to take that forward, it's sustainable rather than having it top down. So if it's top down, they don't really take that much ownership, and also their input is not really being captured. So I ensure that everything we do is bottom-up approach. So we edit, we review, we make input. As the time that we make input and review, they get to understand, yes, there is need to add a few things here. So that's the model that I have. Thank you.
Well, that will be it for the Q&A session. We'd like to give another round of applause for our lovely speakers. Thank you. Okay. Next, for our final round of serial testimonies, I would like to invite up to the stage Sonia Lokar, Dr. Nala Al-Qasimi, and Eliza Sweeney. And you can just make your way to the couches, or the sofa. Yeah, take a seat, please.
Okay, I'll start. I'll be sharing a story about my experience volunteering in Nigeria. This summer, I stood in a small classroom in northern Nigeria, watching groups of children collaborate to connect two wires in a simple circuit, lighting up an LED bulb. Their faces immediately lit up brighter than the bulb itself. That moment, a simple circuit, a simple spark, captured by technology is not only a driver for innovation, but a source of connection and inspiration. The next day, the students wrote messages in binary code. It was moving to see so many children write, "I love you, Mother," a reminder of the profound love and strength mothers bring into our lives. While I set out to solely teach a lesson in technology, the children's example demonstrated that the core of meaningful learning is rooted in kindness and creativity. I asked them to take their secret message home, to teach their mothers, fathers, sisters, and brothers what they had learned. Our goal was not just to teach our students, but to cultivate curiosity and create opportunities across the 45 schools they came from. This ripple effect was reinforced by an inspirational leader in Nigeria who told us that educating a girl educates a village. Working from the bottom up, teaching one person, solving one issue, creates change that goes far beyond our immediate impact. Many of the girls in that classroom reminded me that innovation does not have to be loud to be revolutionary. Their quiet determination reflected the same soft power I see in our mothers, women who innovate daily, often without recognition, by solving problems in their families and communities. In many ways, women have always been technologists, adapting, problem solving, and creating with resilience, patience, and love. Technology can divide us through misinformation, polarization, and exploitation. However, when technology is guided by creativity and compassion, the real catalyst of positive change, it can become an instrument of peace. Teaching our youth about technology is vital for peace building, as it fosters critical thinking, resilience, and cooperation. Now, more than ever, these skills are essential for resolving conflict, building trust, and confronting global challenges. Peace is not just the absence of war, it is the presence of compassion, understanding, and collaboration. When we place technology in the right hands, we don't just spark circuits, we spark hope.
I was thinking, what is so different at this colloquium of whatever I have experienced in my long life, working a lot with women of all countries, different countries, in different situations, before war, after war, in the middle of the war. What is so different? And I would like to thank you, Awa, for bringing here people of such different environments, in development, in the countries of different age. And what really fascinates me at this conference is the presence of youth, which is not the presence of people who are guided by the elderly, but the presence of creative people who are really a part and parcel of everything what was happening here. On your own capacity, how you understand the world, how you can do things in this world. This is something I never met in the conferences where I was,
has been an honor to take part in Mothers Without Borders. This 3 days journey beginning at Wellesley College, continuing at Harvard University and concluding at MIT, has been a powerful reminder of how deeply women's compassion and resilience shape our world. Over these days, we heard inspiring voices from across the globe, stories and initiatives that celebrate mothers, empower women, and encourage youth to lead with purpose and courage. Each testimony reflected the transformative power of empathy, education, and unity in building lasting peace. Maybe I mentioned before to the youth among us, your education is your greatest bridge to creating change. Use your knowledge, your creativity, and your compassion to continue the work of those who came before you, and to shape a more peaceful tomorrow. As we close, let us carry forward the spirit of this gathering to believe in gentle but powerful force of understanding and care, and to continue building bridges of peace that reach beyond borders. Thank you very much, and I would like to thank my dear sister Hawa for the very successful organization of this gathering. People from different countries across the globe, across generation, youth and experience, professionals came together just to add value, to contribute and to interact. And we hope that we continue this journey with you in future events, inshallah.
We're going to take 2 really quick questions. We're running a bit short on time, so if anyone has a question they'd like to ask, just raise your hand.
I'll ask my same question again to all of you, but if you were to, in one word, describe the future of technology as you see fit, how would you describe it? The future of technology, if you were to describe it in one word, what would you want it to be?
This brings back a very powerful memory from Nigeria for me. So I would say technology is a bridge, because I think it can build bridges across our future. It can create opportunities for us that not only women, but youth and men and people can take to make bigger things, to create more opportunities, to inspire people. So I think that technology, we know it's a double-edged sword. It has very many good qualities and bad qualities, but if we use it in the right way, technology has the power to be a bridge. So the experience in Nigeria I was speaking about was the Da Vinci's Bridge, which I believe we will be hearing about soon in a video when we listen to the recorded videos. But this Da Vinci's Bridge is made only of wood, only materials, no screws, no nails, no glue, nothing holding it together. But you make it and design the geometry in a way that it holds itself up. And so I think technology can be a bridge that once it's built correctly, once it's used correctly, it can be a bridge connecting people to the future, connecting people to opportunity. And technology has a very incredible power to bring people together. So, thank you.
Yes. For me, technology, especially this modern technology, is a knife. And you know, with a knife, you can cut the bread and feed a hungry person, but you can also kill your brother. So take really good care and do whatever you can that you will cut the bread and that nobody will kill your brother.
I believe technology, we need to take our we look optimistic to have some, you know, better healthcare, better innovation in many fields, in engineering and medical. Just we look for the better of using the technology.
I have a question for Princess. So I was going to ask, what message would you share with young women who are losing faith in justice or safety because of rising violence?
This is very sad. When we are in 2025 and we still hear that some women, they are exposed to violence. We need a very strong justice for women. We need the voices of all women and men all over the world to stop this. Women are very powerful. However, all the voices need to be supporting women, not only voices, and efforts, policies, systems to support women, to prevent any violence against women, and to take very strong actions against that. And we rely on our police officer here to and whoever working in the justice field to take very strong actions against any violence that women may expose to.
Okay, so thanks again to our amazing speaker. Please, another round of applause for them. Okay, and now for our last serial testimonies, please welcome on the stage Natalie Elmes, Silvio Dionisotti, and Raga Donti-Reddy.
Hi everyone. So I promised that this story isn't actually about me being clumsy, but that's how it's going to start out. So my senior year of college, I was just getting ready to graduate. I had 6 more weeks until I graduated, and then all of a sudden, I bang my head against a huge metal door and give myself a concussion. That stung. That was absolutely no fun, but it was such, in a way, a great gift, because it meant that I couldn't look at technology. I couldn't look at screens for 6 whole weeks. It was a bad concussion. And in a way, it was such a gift, because it allowed me to connect with my friends on a deeper level. And it allowed me to start playing a card game every night with my boyfriend's roommates. And it just led to such deeper connections. And so my encouragement for all of you today is find your own card game. Find something where you can just spend time together, no screens, no phones. It was only this crazy event where I was literally forced to stay off screens that meant that I had to move away from my technology, but it was such a wake-up call. And so I hope that you all can find your own card games. Thank you.
I may speak on social media because I feel like that to me, I guess, as a teenager. But I feel like we often think of social media like apps like TikTok. It can be very polarizing. When we scroll on the videos that get the most traction are often the most extreme. And that can obviously lead to a lot of, I think, what the phenomena we see today with extreme political polarization, I think all over the world. However, I think when social media is leveraged productively, it can actually be really useful for young people to be engaged and start caring about issues in their community. Because oftentimes young people are the least likely to go and vote, but so many issues are so relevant to them. And social media makes media or information that typically isn't catered to them or as accessible, now accessible to them. It's at their fingertips. I think obviously there's misinformation, but there is a lot of really good stuff out there, and if we are able to tell teens and youth how they can navigate that space and be able to identify the most important aspects, it'll be extremely powerful to keep our youth engaged politically and civically, which will then transcend for the rest of their life.
Good morning, everyone. I was asked to keep it short. I plan on doing that. Imagine a 14-year-old girl in a rural village. Jesus, I'm doing bad right now. Let me restart. Imagine a 14-year-old girl in a rural village sitting under a tree with a second-hand smartphone. She doesn't have access to traditional classrooms, yet through technology, she's learning languages, math, and new skills. That simple example shows that technology has changed the world, and especially the lives of young people. For today's youth, technology is a central part of daily life. It influences how we communicate, study, and even think. Online education platforms, digital libraries, and interactive apps have made learning more flexible and accessible. Social media allows us to share ideas instantly and connect with people across cultures. And new technologies like artificial intelligence and virtual reality are creating jobs and industries that didn't exist a decade ago. However, this rapid growth has also brought challenges. Excessive screen time, misinformation, and privacy risks have become common concerns. Many young people face pressure from unrealistic standards on social media or become overly dependent on digital devices. The key is balance. Technology should support our growth, not real-world experiences, not replace real-world experiences. By using it responsibly for learning, problem-solving, and innovation, we can make it a tool for progress rather than distraction. In the end, technology is neither good nor bad on its own. It impacts depends on who we, especially the youth, choose to use it with awareness, responsibility, and purpose. Thank you.
Okay, does anybody have any questions really quick? Okay.
Hi, first I want to compliment you guys. I agree with Sophia. The best part of this is having the integration of the youth and mothers without borders. It's really made the colloquium so much more dynamic. And I also love the fact that you talked about being away from technology being useful, so learning how to reflect and have a quiet time without technology. And then you talked about how technology can help us. We've been talking, I teaching you in my English class, nothing important, but where we want to hear from youth about technology. I forget the name of the article, but there is an article in the New York, there was an op-ed where he talked about the idea that civil activism is not as relevant, or it's not really, that social media cannot really drive it. But then we beg to differ because we have seen it with issues like in Nigeria, EndSARS, and then the Arab Spring. Can you as young people tell us how we can leverage social media in reaching the youth to inculcate or drive, like what we're trying to do now, even further? Just speak to that if you may. Does that make sense?
I'm happy to take that. Okay. So my main advice to young people get those posts, to get all of the likes and clicks. So much of it these days is just clickbait. And so when we see our friends posting things that we might not agree with, we have to think about all the different layers of complexity that cannot possibly be expressed through a single post. So my main advice for young people would just be to exercise as much curiosity in doing that, and to really create that culture where instead of just automatically rushing to judgment, we're automatically rushing toward questions that they have for them to engage in dialogue.
If we have one more question really quick.
Since we were talking about youth and the social media, so I'm just wondering, for each of you, growing up, do you have moments that your exploration of social media conflicts with some other self-talk? Yeah, do you have run into conflict with your mother on using social media or playing video games or things like that?
Doesn't that smile just say it all?
Yeah, I think definitely growing up like in the age of social media, I feel like a big thing with my parents, my mom, has been that maybe I spend too much time on it, that it's too time consuming, distracting me from spending time with my friends or doing my work, which I think is another really valid concern. Social media is extremely addicting, and I think especially during quarantine, people my age were at a very like pivotal point in our lives of adolescence where we were like, I was like entering high school, and I think it did negatively impact a lot of us because we were devoid of like actual human interaction for so long, and we relied only on social media. But on the contrary, I would say like that same thing allowed us to stay connected and not feel solitary during a time that could easily feel very isolating. So I think how much we choose to put ourselves on, connect ourselves with social media, I think it depends. It's really about balance and how we each personally are able to navigate the prioritizing our in-person relationships, but also relationships that wouldn't be possible without social media.
So my answer to the question of if social media has ever interfered, or video games or technology has ever interfered with our mother's soft power, so my answer to that would be that I like to hold myself to a good standard. I like to make sure that I create a healthy balance with social media, but at the end of the day, it's just a reminder that we all have to practice what we preach. I can sit here and tell you all that you should all limit your time on social media and really connect with others, but it starts with first holding yourself accountable and making sure that as parents you're holding yourselves accountable, as teachers you're holding yourselves accountable, and as students and young people are all holding ourselves accountable. Last but not least.
My mother and I had multiple struggles over my use of technology growing up. So I think I'm a prime example for sure. In terms of directing that, I feel like you find like limiters these days where you can put the amount of time you can put on your phone for how long you can be on an app. You could ground your kid, throw the phone away. There's a million different ways you can go about it. I think the healthy balance would be just making sure that they're directing their purpose on social media, not just doom scrolling. Doom scrolling is like the worst thing in the world. For those of you that don't know what doom scrolling is, it's essentially just hopping on Instagram or YouTube or TikTok and just scrolling. You're just zapping away your brain cells.
understand you more and to bridge this gap, what would you like to say to us, to your professors, to your parents, to the older generation, just to understand you and to bridge this gap between you and them? Because I know that you feel that you are criticized. Why you are spending long time with the social media? Why you are doing this and that? So what message you want to address or to send to the older generation to explain yourself, to let them understand you more?
Yes. Okay. We're going to collect them all. Okay. Thank you very much. Just like my princess said, generational gap. Sometimes I think what we need to do as parents is also try to catch up. I remember one day my daughter came to me and she was asking me something and she said, Mommy, how was it during your time about this? And I said, what time? She said, I mean, during your time, how was it? I said, we are in the same time. We are moving together. You and I have been everything before this phone. I have Instagram page, I have everything. And sometimes I thought, even when I was your call, and then they have this filter. Right? All the people used to have joint call, and then the other one wearing something. I said, how did you do that? They said, touch the dot, dot. And I touched the dot, and then I would put glasses also, my filter. So I think we maybe you would also add on that what we need to do. But I think what we need to do is to catch up with them so that they don't do, we know what they're doing because we're in the same space with them. Don't let us feel like there's that gap. We try to reach to cover up the gap. What we need to do, maybe you need to tell us what we need to do, step up. Because we need to understand what we're doing. Otherwise, there will always be conflict. And we are here now to build peace. So tell us how to build peace online and using technology.
So, being 1.5 years out of college, I'd like to say that I'm incredibly qualified to speak about this. I'm really not, but thank you for your very sweet questions. So, what I will say from my own personal perspective is just the importance of empathy and curiosity from the older generations. I think that it is so vital in connecting with kids, in saying that you're fully going to dismiss something or you're fully going to rule it out. You really create a really hard deadline that can suppress a lot of what teens do on the internet that can be healthy and can actually foster connections and can bridge gaps globally. And so I think that the most curiosity that the adults can exercise, the better off we'll be in terms of building peace, in terms of bridging that gap between the youth and the adults.
First is a message to mothers and parents. Both sides definitely have their points that are definitely correct. You see extremism on both sides. You should not be giving your kids phones at 3 years old. But I also think that we also have a little bit of a gap with the next generation. What we call the kids now are iPad kids. We still enjoyed the outside when we were growing up, still went out, did sports, went out biking. Yeah, there was still, we still had a little bit of the old generation, what you guys did, not growing up with technology. So I don't want to speak for iPad kids, but in terms of how I'm going to be planning on parenting, I probably would wait until 8 years old before they even touch their first phone. And even then, there's going to be a lot of limits. There's going to be a lot of fighting, I'm sure, because you guys did with your kids. But it's the message to the parents. It's going to be hard, and you're just going to have to bridge the gap on your end also while the kids are bridging their gap. And to bridge the gap on your end, becoming familiar with technology, YouTube is super helpful. YouTube, you can find everything. Any tutorial, any questions you have. We still love when you guys call us and ask us how do you copy paste. So please, still ask us the simple questions, but you can definitely self-inform with YouTube and Google in terms of bridging the gap on the older end of things too, for sure.
I would basically just be echoing what Natalie and Silvio said, to just keep an open mind, have empathy, and also, yes, maybe like bridge the gap with yourself in technology. And I guess just briefly touching on your point about how you can use technology interesting because I feel like nowadays there are so many social justice movements that are primarily spread through the internet. And in one of the activities, or I was like in a program for my college, and we did something similar about how we would start a public campaign online. And I think there's so many strategies about how you can leverage your voice of any age. I know a big thing is there are people with immense platforms on the internet. They reach like hundreds of millions of people. So it's how do we get like influencers, people that maybe your kids talk about, you're like, who is that? They can serve an extremely powerful platform to reach out to and be able to like spread important messages. So that was one thing we talked about, is how we can engage prominent people on the internet to like aid in like the peace movements.
So, if you remember on Friday, I spoke to all of you, telling you how I was so many people did so much for this 3 days that we spent together. And I just want to express my gratitude that you all spent time with us over 3 long days. And I'm just so thankful that I learned so much from so many of you. I hope that you take away a spark or a renewed spark to continue our work into the future. And I'm going to remember you all. I have all your emails, so I can connect with you still. But thank you so, so much. It was, if I could give you all hugs, I would. So.
So, I want to stand here, not the last speaker, because you will have the last words. This project started in January, and I had spoken to almost everybody here, sometimes multiple times. For all of you believers, I say thank you. For all of you that gave hours, we are thinking we gave maybe over 1,000 hours with no pay. You know that this program has not been sponsored by anybody. Nobody gave us a dime, just to put it out there, because you believed, because you know it's possible. Let nobody tells you you cannot do anything. Set your mind to want to do it, and you can get it done. And the last thing I want to say is trust. Your Royal Highness, you showed me what it means to trust. It's humbling to know that I can walk into your office. I was telling people, I come out of the corridor, I don't know who you are, I don't know which name you carry. You are not the Princess of Dubai. You are the princess in at least 3 emirates in the United Arab Emirates. Dubai is just one of the 7. So you have power. Who am I to stand next to you? But you trusted me. And you took your own funds to come here. I say thank you. My student from University of Rome, if you can please come over here, all of you. I wouldn't have moved a pen without you. You are the epitome of the future. And I allow you to take the bird from me, the whatever you call it. I'm giving all of you. And you have taken it to a different level. These ones are the future, not the future they are today, actually. And you see, we were totally out of the picture, but they controlled the entire 3 days. And this is an example for us to, if we forget everything, to remember that these youth are endowed with immense abilities to do good and to change the world for the better. Thank you so much.
Diana Smith was my crazy partner. I don't know where she is. I don't want to say too much, but she sold her shares in her company to be able to sponsor this occasion. And she said, you know, I know you pay me. But that is the power of one person. In America, maybe in Nigeria, but not in America. So I want to say, Diana, wherever you are, thank you so much. Susie is my partner in crime. Thank you, Susie. Your Royal Highness, the Inspector General of Police in Nigeria, I remember going to eat with you in the restaurant. And you had retinue of policemen, somebody holding your bag, somebody holding yourself. So it's like for you to be here and interact with us as humble human beings, we say thank you. Your Excellency, thank you. Your Excellency, you left everything. She got the visa the day before she left. She got the ticket of the flight in the airport the day she was coming here. And she came here only for this occasion. Thank you so much. Dr. Lee, when it all began, you were there. Thank you. Robert Skiver and your family. Aren't you amazing? That is the first dinner we had. Some of you that have gone for that dinner knew that that dinner was yummy and Hebrew. Thank you. Sonia Loka. What will I say? Almost all the videos you saw from the Balkans and from Russia and Ukraine, she is not only in the European Parliament shaking and moving the Parliament. She does that for the entire globe. Sonia, we saw your passion, we felt your passion. Please continue so that we can keep drinking from that tap. Thank you. Alice Dinomendi, you own part of Lincoln. So for us to have you to be with us as our mayor, our chief, we say thank you. The representative of the governor of Kano State, thank you so much. Hajia Ekilima, you are the source of me knowing a lot of people here. Thank you. Now, if I keep going, I'm going to miss out in so many people, and I ask you for forgiveness. But let me recognize one last person here, which is leader, and then I will recognize the secretary of the Peace Institute that has given me guidance. Leader, thank you. Sophia, thank you. Titi, thank you. Arlene, thank you. Hajia Aisha, thank you. Katie, thank you. Madame, thank you. Please, thank you, Auntie, for coming. Mrs. Sweeney, thank you. I can go. Mrs. Elms, thank you. Please, guys, come here. Come here, yes. Teacher, come here. This is our last group, and our musicians spent over 3 months. We invaded his mind in those times. Thank you, Ray Ray. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. They came all the days of this conference. Which school are you coming from? Putnam Ave. Okay, teacher, is your last podium to say thank you, and then thank you so much.
I just want to say thank you so much for speaking with our students over the course of the time, the offers that we had to connect with people, the ways that we expanded. It did all the things that I asked them to come here and do. I'm going to take one more risk and have a student say thank you to conclude.
Thanks for showing up. Have a great time.
Yeah, thank you so much. This is really interesting.
Thank you so much for this learning opportunity.
right now, I would like to say thank you to our students, because I could not come here after Professor. So I'm glad that we had a little pause there. Thank you. But I would like to just say as well, thank you to all of you for being here. And I'm just going to give a few really quick announcements. So my part is very boring. But we will now be going downstairs for lunch. So that is down ready for us. And then for those of you coming to the duck boat tour, we are then proceeding to that. And then we will have a dinner at the Pierce House tonight, where we will also be seeing some of the amazing videos that have been prepared for today. Since we had so many amazing speakers, we did not have time to see all of the pre-recorded messages that we have today. So we will be watching some of those at the dinner at the Pierce House tonight. We have some very incredible speakers and some serial testimonies to hear at the Pierce House as well with our dinner. So thank you to everybody here. Okay, yes. Yeah, I said very briefly about that.